Hello, hi everybody. Hello and welcome to our Thursday lesson where we're going to be going over some comprehension skills. So as usual, our homework is always given to us on the page that I'm going to put into the chat, which is our 11 plus exam classes. Let me just pop it in there for you. All right. And we put a worksheet up there every single day so that you can go through it and then come on and have a watch as somebody else goes through. So you can see whether your thinking was right, whether you have anywhere to improve on technique, how to speed up, how to check. Okay. And today's lesson, as I said, it's all about comprehension skills. And we gave a very, very short passage and we asked you to answer a couple of questions about it. Now, there's going to be a lot more questions if you're doing an 11 plus exam or if you're looking at a SATs exam, but the skill is still the same. It doesn't matter how long it is, it matters about the way that you can decode. You've got your magnifying glass out for anybody who takes lessons with us. Can you see exactly what is happening in that text, even if it isn't written? So all of those invisible things that are happening. Now let's have a look at the text that we gave you. Okay, and it should just be here. Here we are. Let's make it a little bit bigger so that we can properly see it. Okay, and it was all about Amelia. So we've got Amelia. She's tiptoeing into this quiet dome. And sometimes when I read this, I'm always thinking about what I imagine it to be, but sometimes I might draw a little picture in the side just to help me to be able to know what's happening just in that paragraph. I've got a really long text and I've got a little picture next to it. That helps me to know where I'm going. So here's my dome and here's Amelia. There she is. She's tiptoeing in, her eyes wide with wonder. Rows upon rows of literary gods towered above her, each one a gateway to a new world. She smiled as she ran her fingers along the spines, finally choosing one titled The Hidden Forest. Okay, couple of sentences. There might be some new words in there. There might be some techniques in there that you're starting to see. But let's have a look at some of the questions. We've only got a couple of questions, but they are testing our knowledge. They're testing how much we are reading, but also what we're understanding below the writing. So where is Amelia in this passage? Okay, well, there are some clues. I'm hoping, if you've got your magnifying glasses out, that you are finding these clues. A clue for me, spines. Titled. So those should tell us, and literary actually as well, should tell us that we're talking about books. Okay, literary to do with books, spine, the spine of a book, and the title of a book. Okay, so that allows me to get rid of classroom or garden. Yes, your classroom might have books in it, but it seems to say that rows upon rows of literary gods towered above her. I'm thinking of this hole full of books. And she's able to go along and she's able to choose one. So we're left with bookshop and library. Now, these are really similar. And you might be thinking, but it could be both. I think it could be a bookshop and it could be a library. But there are some tiny little clues that make one of those more likely than the other. If I think about a shop, a bookshop, I think about lots of other people. I think about it being maybe noisy and hearing the ding of the cash register. I might think about maybe music being in the background. But here it very, very clearly says it's a quiet place. And a quiet place with people saying, shh, I tend to think of a library. A bookshop is a little bit noisier. And I might expect that when she's looking along, it says she finally chooses that one titled The Hidden Forest. I might expect there to be some kind of pricing. I might expect there to be a shop assistant. So I can tell maybe by the word quiet that it's more likely to be a library than a bookshop. And sometimes in these questions, more likely is what we need. So here it is more likely to be the library, and therefore that would be my answer. You may well be thinking it's a bookshop, but bookshop isn't quite the same environment that we would wander around with our eyes full of wonder, tiptoeing and being really quiet. Okay. Number 2, the phrase each one a gateway to a new world. So the first thing I do is I read and I scan back that text so that I can find it. And it's in the sentence, rows upon rows of literary gods towered above her, each one a gateway to a new world. Now, I've got some figurative language in there. My literary gods are books. Okay, so there's a metaphor that's being used in there. And actually, the gateway to a new world is also being a metaphor. So we're not talking about the books literally being doors, because actually we're using figurative language. So the idea of it being a gateway to a new world, I can't step through my book, but we are trying to work out what that gateway to a new world might mean. If I take the options, the books are locked. It doesn't seem to be, because you can choose one. There's nothing in there that backs up, that is evidence that the books are locked. And so I can probably get rid of that. I can get rid of the fact that the books are doors because I have recognized that there are metaphors in there. So now I'm looking between the books are magical and the books can take readers on adventures. Now, they're quite similar in meaning, but again, there is some nuance in there. And nuance just means that these two things are very similar, but there is slight difference in them. So it talks to us about a gateway to a new world. And if we start to break down what that can mean, we can think about the book itself transporting us somewhere new. And again, it is done through the use of a metaphor. It's not done literally, it's done figuratively. So those books are transporting us somewhere. Now, if I think about the books, indeed, that Amelia is reading, but also the books that I can think of, she's chosen one called The Hidden Forest. Now, that might be a magical book, but it also might not be a magical book. If I can think about the books that I know of, each one is a gateway to a different understanding, a different place. Maybe my character travels to India. Maybe my character travels to the moon. Maybe my character travels into a mystical place. But they're not always magic. And if the books are magical, I might expect them to do something. So the best option here is that the books can take readers on adventures, because they've said that they're a gateway. We can think about going on adventures. We can think about getting there. We're going through kind of an imaginary door. It says it's to a new world. And I can think of lots of, maybe not worlds, but lots of situations that books take us into. But they're not all magical. Now, you might like to really read about magical things, but not all books are written to be magical. So my best option would be that books can take readers on adventures. Number 3 is all about the understanding of the word tiptoed. Now, again, it's a word we're familiar with. Sometimes in PE, in dance, we're asked to tiptoe. Often we are tiptoeing around, maybe to avoid something. Maybe we've done something wrong. We're going to tiptoe past some door so that people don't know we're there. Here I can see, is she in a hurry? She doesn't seem to be. She's tiptoeing around. I don't think of tiptoeing as a particularly hurrying thing. I think about pounding my feet on the pavement and moving my arms really quickly, but that's not what tiptoeing really is. Angry she's smiling. She smiled as she ran her fingers along the spines. She's not angry. She was excitedly running. Again, that's kind of being in a hurry, so I haven't got the evidence to back that up. But I do know that she wanted to be quiet. It said she tiptoed into the quiet dome. And I can think about, if I tiptoe, I'm doing it so that people don't notice me. And that makes sense because she wanted to be quiet. And then that last one, number 4, what did Amelia feel when she saw the books? Again, I'm using that multiple choice, but I'm also using what I felt when I read that piece. And I can see that she's smiling. I can see that she's a little bit maybe apprehensive, but she is awed by the books. Her eyes are wide with wonder. So she's not confused. Otherwise, her brow would be furrowed. She's not bored. There's no yawning in there. There's no getting distracted by something else, looking out the window, nothing like that. She's not frightened. I can't see any point where she's cowering or where she is shrinking away. I can't see anything that shocked her. And so I would choose amazed. Now, hopefully this explanation shows you how you could go through the options that you're given when there is a comprehension piece. A lot of these, I've chosen these questions because they have answers that could be correct. So number 1, we could be in a bookshop or a library. Number 2, the books could be magical. They could take the readers on adventure. They're very similar things. But if you read and you understand what's underneath, what I call what's underneath the text says one thing, but there's also this hidden layer of meaning. And if we can go into each word, or we can think about, okay, this is what I know, put yourself in the character's shoes, then that can help you to work out which answer is the best pick. There's not always just one answer. There is the best answer, and there is possibly another answer. And we need help trying to find the absolute right one. Okay, that's our lesson done for today. But what I did want to do is just bring your attention, show you to the fact that I have added in the chat the page that we're using to put up all of our work. And next lesson, tomorrow's, is all about the paper at the top. There is a full practice paper for you to look over there. I'd love you to do it, and I'd love you to join me tomorrow so that we can then discuss some of the questions over that paper. I won't go through all of them, but I'll go through some of them that I think are the most interesting and maybe the trickiest. Okay, so have a go at that paper for me, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.